fans, here we go. SparStar Promotions is proud to present the re-rounds of mixed martial arts in the featherweight division. This bout is sponsored in part by Ink Junkies. Once again, our referee in charge of this bout, Chris the Crippler Lieben. And now, introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, he is wearing blue trunks. He is training out of Carlos Alberto's MMA and Millennia MMA by way of Huntington Park, California. He weighed in 144 pounds. His record, 1 win with 2 losses. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Juan De La Cruz. His opponent across the cage on my right, fighting out of the red corner. He is wearing black trunks. He is training out of Sub Fighter MMA in Laguna Hills by way of Westchester, New York. He weighed in 144 pounds. Tonight, he is making his debut. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Jacob Polo. All right, fans, here we go. The re-rounds of mixed martial arts in the featherweight division.
I think that Jacob is making his debut with us, so that is great. Good to note here, but I do want to tell you this. So what is very interesting about this fight, this is one of those fights that I believe did not happen last week, so we're happy to see it happen with us. And we are stoked to see it happen, John, and it's happening right now.
Yeah, Jacob in the red corner and Juan in the blue.
And it's got to be so devastating to be told, you know, you do the weigh-ins, you get all set to do all that sort of stuff, or, you know, you cut the weight, and then all of a sudden you go, you don't have a fight. And then you say, give me a week, but I'm going to be gumming for this takedown, guns a-blazing here, John.
Yeah, and I like what Juan's doing here. He punched his way right into a single leg, then turned it into a body lock. Able to draw that leg away from the cage with his own leg and put Carlos down. I'm sorry, Jacob down. Jacob looking to potentially wall walk. He's going to try to get back to his feet. Juan.
Nope, instead opting for guard here. Okay.
Yeah, probably looking for a triangle.
Maybe. I wonder if he tries to get the foot on the hip and maybe push him out here, John.
I mean, I would prefer that unless you have like a very high-level triangle. It's just a much safer bet when you're the consequences of failing it are punches to the face.
Well, you also just don't want to keep him in guard forever. You usually want to use that as a transition point to go somewhere else. Staying in guard in an MMA fight is not your friend.
Yeah, it's just such higher stakes.
Yeah.
If you end up not being able to get your game plan going from bottom and you're stuck on bottom, you're going to be taking a lot of damage, as opposed to if it's just a grappling match, then it doesn't really matter as much. But this is why grappling for MMA sometimes can be dramatically different than grappling for sport grappling, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we've got over-under from now going for collar tie with an overhook for Jacob. With the overhook as the bottom person, I would love to see – and Jacob getting picked up and slammed, but that's the end of the round. Okay. Would love to see Jacob start hipping out. I know it's difficult when you have the cage to your back, but if you can start hipping out towards that side that you have underhooked, then you can start setting up your clamp position. You've got your omoplatas, your triangles, your arm bars, all kinds of good stuff from there. Or you could maybe even just start to heist out and get back to your feet.
I'll just say this. Looking a little bit at his background, if you are somebody like Jacob, I think you want to be back on your feet. I think you're one of those fighters, if you fight at, say, IFS. Let's say you were undefeated in striking in 2023. You really want to get back to your base. And as comforting as it may be, where you're like, hey, I'm keeping him guard, which is better than getting submitted. Very true, but it stifles you for such amount of time that you're really banking on that next round when maybe there isn't a next round. So if that's the case, foot on the hips. Yeah. Nothing wrong with pushing them out to get back up. A technical stand-up.
It's a simple move, and it's really effective. And sometimes when people get tunnel vision, especially the people that love grappling, they'll sit there on the back. I would just love to see them do that and get back to their feet.
And that's the thing, is he already had it. It'd be different if he didn't. So we'll see what happens here, but now he's back on the feet, and this should be where he feels most at home. And again, I think we've seen this a lot. Ooh.
Oh, good right hand from De La
De La
Cruz.
Cruz.
And immediately turns it into grappling as soon as he can. Love to see it. If that's the game plan, tag him up and then just get it right to the ground.
I mean, De La Cruz wanted to make sure he got some respect on the feet as well. And even though you're seeing Jacob try to attack this neck here, it's very difficult. He has to let it up because guess what? This body positioning is so hard to control from underneath. Now, at least he's getting to half, which is not bad, but it's going to be hard to shove that knee back in from this particular position.
Yeah, De La Cruz did an excellent job of keeping his head position in towards the center line. He never drifted to either, like dramatically to either side of Carlos's body, which would allow a guillotine. So while Carlos was looking for the guillotine, that head position kept him safe. You need your head on one side of the body or the other to be guillotined. So you keep it in the center, and you're pretty safe from there. So
you know,
really nicely done.
What's good here, though, is he was starting to take a little bit of your advice and trying to, like, hip out and trying to move backwards, which was giving him some space. He did give up his back. But
this is better than being down on the ground. Yeah, and got an underhook out of it, too.
Yeah,
this is good stuff from Jacob.
And you know what? These are smaller victories that you can win that start to build up if you can chain them together. The hard part is it's exhausting getting back up on that cage. And I don't think these knees to the stomach and the midsection help that cause. It starts to wind you very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, De La Cruz is just really putting a pace on Jacob here. So even though Jacob, I think, is doing the right stuff, like he's
a much more improved second round from him.
Yes, and he's getting back to the feet and he's putting in that work instead of just getting controlled the entire time.
And you know what? And you know what?
He
didn't get taken down there, which was, I think, it's got to be a little confidence boosting in the sense of two reasons. You saw a back trip from De La Cruz, and then you saw that kind of like shift of the upper body to see if maybe he could trip him out like that way. And neither of them worked in that particular moment. So at the very least, even if you're not winning, at the very least, it gives you that puncher's chance in the third. It means maybe you got to get that finish, but you're still in the fight. There's still 2 minutes left on that clock for you to go ahead and get the finish, but I do think he has to get that finish in this third round.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be down 2 rounds to nothing at this point. De La Cruz just executing his game plan perfectly.
Yeah.
And I love the way that he's not afraid to strike his way into these clinches and get it to the ground. He's doing just like if I'm De La Cruz's corner, I'm just like more of what you've been doing. It's fantastic. Having said that, Jacob is making good adjustments. He's not getting, like in that second round, he didn't get stuck on the bottom, which is so easy to do, especially you can start to play in your own mind. Like, oh, this guy's just a better grappler than me, and now you're on the bottom, right? He actually turned his back, which is typically for straight grappling, not considered usually the best way to do things, but in MMA or like there's the newer school of thought, turning your back can be excellent and get you right up. And he did it safely, and he got an underhook, and he completely negated that takedown and got it back to the feet and didn't get taken down again. This is huge from Jacob, so we'll see how he does in this third round.
And here's what's happening for De La Cruz. It may not seem like much here, but him trying to just position him toward the cage is effortless, and it helps to get the secured takedown. It's just beating somebody with movement to positioning them to where you want them to be. So that even if your opponent looks and thought, maybe I can get this overhand Kimura, maybe I can go over and attack this arm, you're at a disadvantage. You are so far behind that now all he has to do is just make small adjustments and continue to put that pressure up against the cage. So now we're going to see if we can chain together these small wins, but now double unders here by De La Cruz. Very nice. Good knee to the midsection again. A nice return here by Jacob. I mean, listen, this is the stuff you got to win on these small fights.
Yeah, and Jacob even working his way back to an over-under clinch from having double overs. And disconnecting the hands from De La Cruz. Like, he's doing good stuff. I mean, De La Cruz is just executing such a good game plan here. His team has really done a good job with him, and he's clearly a talented fighter. But having said that, like, Jacob is doing a lot of good stuff still. Even though he's not winning this fight and he's not winning these positions, he's not getting blown out of the water, though.
Yeah, and John, this always sucks to hear. I know that. but man, you do see the elements of a fighter that is learning even in a loss. Like, you can see him making the adjustments, and you say, all right, what happens when you take this home now? What kind of fighter are you after having this fight where maybe you didn't take a ton of damage, but you did learn how to get up and find your way to safer positions? And from looking like you were getting mauled in round 1 a little bit to, you found your way out of some bad spots, to this dude didn't have you down like he did the last 2 rounds. Now you're up against the cage. Now it's just adjustments from all 3 of those things when you're back in camp. And to me, that signals a fighter that you can coach, you can work with, and you can say, like, hey, man, it sucks tonight, but I promise you, the IQ that you just displayed out there is going to go a long way if you know how to coach it right.
Yeah. He definitely made some really good adjustments. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is amateur MMA. It's a learning experience, and the main thing is you learn from these matches and you don't take a ton of damage. And that it doesn't matter if you actually win or lose on the scorecards, that's still a win, right?
Yeah, huge.
So Jacob's doing that fantastic. He didn't take a ton of damage. And he was starting to figure things out even as the fight went on. So,
and if you're De La Cruz, you find out what his favorite food is, and if you're the coaches, you give him that food right now.
Absolutely,
yeah. You say, hey, listen,
earned this.
You did everything we asked for, young man.
Fantastic stuff.
Do you like pizza? We're getting you pizza. Ice cream? Put it on top of the pizza if you want it. Don't even care. Have what you want.
Whatever you want, yeah. No, a really good job from De La Cruz.
And you can see it. Like, look at these coaches right now, so giddy. They're just having a great time because your fighter performed and did an excellent job in that cage here tonight. And, you know, it's one of those moments that you sit there and you're happy as a team and you say, hey, listen, you demonstrated some great, great moments here, and on to bigger and better things. So credit to both these fighters. I think they both have some good takeaways for tonight. And we now go for the official decision inside of the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. We have our decision. Judge cage side, Felicia O, and Judge cage side, Don Howard, both scored the bout 30-27, while Carlos Schad scored the bout 29-28 in favor of our winner by unanimous decision, the blue corner, Juan De La Cruz.
That's right, fight fans. Juan De La Cruz. How you feeling, brother?
Fucking fantastic.
So what was your fight game? What was your strategy?
The strategy was get into the range with the boxing. As soon as we were close enough, we're going to get that takedown, and we made it happen every round.
And who do you train with?
I train with Carlos Alberto's MMA and Millennia MMA out in Rancho.
Any shout-outs to any of your sponsors out there?
Hey, you know what? Just shout out to the whole team at Millennia. They've been in my corner. They've been helping me improve that grappling game, and we were able to make it shine through fruition today.
Awesome, awesome. All right, fight fans, make some noise for Juan De La Cruz.